And then finally, we have the Utilities module. The Utilities module is where the system administrator can modify the system. So here we have agencies. These are the agencies that the administrator can add. So even in the future, if a new agency wants to use the system, you can add them at a later point in time. Alerts management. These are all the various automated email alerts that WebGrants sends out under various business rules. And these can be modified. For example, the application due date approaching alert is sent out 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, and 21 days prior to the due date. But you can change this and you can make it whatever you would like. You can also click on an alert and you can change the body of the alert. You can also insert variables. So these will resolve when the email is sent. So you can insert the person's name, their application title, the due date, the budget amount, various different data elements can be inserted into the alert itself. Next we have drop-down list boxes. So here you can add any number of additional drop-downs to the system. Each drop-down will have an order, a code, a label, a value, and you can archive the option. And you can add and modify all the drop-downs within the system. Next we have the form creator. So the form creator, this is the tool that I've been referring to throughout the demo about where you would customize or modify forms within the system. So if we choose the form creator, we can then modify the instructions, the people, the organization, and the awards. So if I click on people, so this is the people profile. So here we have the fields that make up the profile. We can order the fields. We have the field name, the label, the data type, whether it's a permanent field, whether we're going to show or hide the field, whether the field is required or optional, whether we display it on the list page, on the search page, and on the My Profile page. So not only can you add a field, but you can also modify the business rules for that particular field. We also have the program area specific forms. Here for each program, we have the ability to customize the funding opportunity forms, the application, the review, the grant, the status report, the claim, the site visit, and the closeout forms. So if we choose the application forms, here are the various application forms for that program. We see the order, the form name, the description, the type, the stage, the date created, whether or not you want to include the form in the template, whether you want to make the form internal only, whether you want to copy the data from the application to the grant, show it during the conflict of interest process, showing during the review process, and in a particular round. We can click on the form, and here we can see a list of the fields. We can click on a field, and this is the form where you can create or modify fields. So here you can show or hide the field. You can establish the order, the label, the database name, the data type, which can be a text box, a text area, rich text, plain text, number, currency, date, phone, email, drop-down, attachment, percentage, or web link. If it's a drop-down, you can specify the drop-down. You can make it a multi-select or a single select. You can include a blank choice. You can have a default value. You can have an input mask if you want the data to be in a particular format. You can have a field size, a maximum length. Well, you can make it required or optional. You can make it conditionally required based on the answer to a prior question. You can align the data in a column. You can include totals, make it internal use only or edit only, show it only on the view page or on the edit page, hide it on the preview, display it on its own line or on the same line as a prior field, include a header label, a sub-label, perform a mathematical calculation. So between any fields on a form, you can do add, subtract, multiply, and divide. You can use parentheses to establish the order of the operations. You can include instructions and also online help at the field level as well. And so this is how you would modify your forms. You can create new forms and modify them over time. So if you have a form and you want to add a new question or you want to modify a question, you can do all that yourself. You don't have to notify us. You don't have to ask us. You don't have to pay any kind of maintenance cost for that kind of task. You can just modify those fields yourself. There's a built-in issue tracker. that comes with the system. So if you find a bug or some issue, you can open up an issue. The program areas, you can add new program areas at any point in time. So if a new grant type comes along a year from now or 6 months from now, you can add a new program area to the system. The reference tables, you can connect two drop-down list boxes together. So for example, if you choose the county, then in the second drop-down list box, only those districts that are in that county will appear. You can set up your security. Here you can add your roles. Each role is made up of a collection of privileges, and these are all the various privileges that exist within the system. So for example, if you wanted to grant access to the people database, you could grant access to the people. If you wanted to grant the capability to add, delete, and edit a person, you can also grant that privilege. And you can do this for every single module within the system and allocate all kinds of access rights to the role, and then you can assign that role to each individual user.